I'm Chloe Jackson. I work for Radnorshire Wildlife Trust as our Pentoin Project Officer. Rewilding is really important because of the issues we're facing today in the environment. In Wales specifically, 1 in 6 species are now at risk of extinction.
The success of wilding this particular patch of ground is hearing the bird song. It's lying on the floor and hearing the insects. It's digging my spade in the ground and it being full of worms and other creatures.
This is the Meadowlands. It's a roughly 200-acre farm. About 30 acres of that is woodland, another 30 or so is species-rich grassland, and then the remainder we are trying to rewild.
We are in Herefordshire. We've gone on a little trip with a group of local landowners and farmers. We are firstly at this one site called Court Farm, and then we are heading to the Meadowlands after this. So 2 different farms which are kind of on the rewilding scale.
Having a more wilded landscape for a conventional farmer also be vital, in my view, for being able to graze stock on that field in 10 or 20 years' time, because they're going to need the water and they're going to need the shade. So it's just building resilience. It needs to happen because without nature, we don't exist.
Rewilding can be a bit of a contentious term and can be seen in different ways, but I think rewilding is about putting natural disturbance back in the landscape, and it's about giving space for nature, really. And there's a kind of a scale of how you can achieve that. So rewilding doesn't have to mean introducing big predators. It doesn't have to mean wolves and big cats. So for us in a Welsh landscape, it's really about putting large grazing herbivores back in the landscape so they can help things to shift and change and cause that kind of dynamic disturbance. Rewilding is very different to the conventional model of farming because it's nature first, it's process led, it's less about kind of prescriptive targets and more about letting things go a little bit, being accepting of things being a bit scruffy and just changing.
Yeah, we've been on a farm walk this morning. As part of my role with the Nature Friendly Farming Network, I'm looking to see how we can incorporate small parts of these systems into agriculture.
I'm Matt Swarbrick and I'm a farmer from northwest Wales, between the mountains and the sea, just near Carnarvon. We're looking around different farms supported by the Wildlife Trust and really looking with this kind of like different contexts, I guess, really about maybe farming less intensively, farming with wildlife, and just looking at how different people are doing things. But I think farming with nature is probably the most important thing we can do. I think if you can produce food and improve biodiversity and have a nice life and live in with it, I think you can basically change the future of humanity.
My name is Caroline Tate and I'm an ecologically focused horticultural consultant with a deep interest in food resilience through healthy ecosystems. And so merging that kind of conservation horticulture and that need for humans to have that resilience, and actually how do we create systems that work together. And the rewilding is kind of part of that because it's all about creating one healthy ecosystem where we all thrive.
I think my biggest takeaway today is there's lots of different ways of doing it. Simon's farm in the middle, I think he's really working hard and really producing a lot of food and working that niche. And then this farm, well, this seems to be quite beautiful as well. Get big inspiration by other people that try to do things, but I also just love seeing the little details of stuff too.
I would say talk to someone, go and find out what they're doing and how it works. I think having an open conversation and just being respectful and because actually there's not one right or wrong answer, there's not a silver bullet, but I think we can all learn a lot from different people and different systems. So yeah, just being open-minded is a really good thing to do. So we recently registered Pentoin Farms, as I mentioned, the project I'm working on, which is 164 acres of farmland that we're restoring for nature. We registered it as part of the Rewilding Britain network. So we are one of the pins on their map that you can find online, as is Gilvac Nature Reserve, one of our other sites. We've also been part of Rewilding Britain's pilot study that they've been doing recently, the kind of a monitoring framework that they'll be launching. And really importantly, the trip that we've come on today has been funded by Rewilding Britain. So yeah, a really big thank you to them for making this possible. And they're also funding some of our other farm cluster meetings, so organising talks and workshops for our local farmers, which is brilliant. Again, realising that rewilding doesn't mean shutting the gates, it doesn't mean people can't be part of the landscape, because people are part of the landscape, they're part of the natural environment. So rewilding doesn't mean land abandonment, it doesn't mean planting up a whole site with trees, it doesn't have to be one black or white thing really.